Well, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that there are some areas in Indonesia especially, and also other countries like India and also Brazil, they have a slum tourism. But we don't want to make, as a government should not make this slum tourism make like it is a place to make income for their own countries. We believe that this society who stay in these areas are poor and they have a low economic side. But we don't. The government should not make them as the object of their income to their nations, because we know that the tax or the income for tourism is very high. It's very high, and then and also. They will get. The country will get much money. The country will get much income for this tourism. But here that the society no, and then in these slum areas they have a culture. They have a very tight culture. So like the examples in Indonesia especially. In Indonesia, there are many cultures. Are in rural areas, are in slum areas, and this cultures actually is very tight. They have a strict cultures, and then also if the government open the access for tourism, it means that this culture will not be very strict anymore, and because there are many visitors will come, and also this culture will change this culture will be changed, and also for the society, they are not used to for the visitors. They are not used to for the visitors to come to their place because they think that if the visitors come to the place, this only can disrupt their life. Also, some from the natural sometimes also. If the visitors come to the slum areas, the naturals there will be broken because we believe that the areas of slum tourism are so natural, and then if there are many visitors come to this place, there will be a high risk for this nature to be broken. And in Indonesia exactly, there are some cultures there are not allowed to the visitors to come to visit, and this is what also include it is a slum tourism. If the government's open for this area, it means that this culture will not this society.
Would you then prioritize the preservation of nature and culture over the economic development of a city?
Sorry.
Would you then preserve the preservation of nature and culture over the economic development of a city?
For the economic development of the city, I know that it will increase the economic development, but we think that it does not make any difference to the society who stay in that area. It only can change the economy for the city, but it's not for the society. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that fine speech. To call upon the Deputy Prime Minister to continue with the government case. Hear, hear.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think the opponent team tried to denies all of the advantages of Islam tourism, especially for the developing countries, because they try to be naive that these tourisms will not give the benefits for the society, while we think that this Islam tourisms will at the same time not only try to alleviate the poverty, but also try to promote the idea of developing countries to the world, and try to even minimize the gap between the developed countries and the developing countries at the very first place. Before I'm going to deliver my arguments, I would like to give some rebuttals. They say that these Islam tourisms will only give the money to the government. We don't think so, and I think that these Islam tourisms will also give the benefit to the society, because once an area is created as Islam tourism, then there will be many job opportunities for the local people. Local people will be involved in trying to, for example, open stores or open attractions in this place, in the Islam tourism. And I think that will be very beneficial for the society at the very first place. And even if it benefit the government, I think that the government also knows their jobs. I think the government will try to distribute this money or this tax also to these people at the end of the day. So I think in terms of money, I think this will not even be a problem for this country at the very first place. And second of all, they think that the Islam tourism will also threat the culture of this area. I don't think so, because the culture is always there, and even culture is one of the important like elements that would like to be sold to other people, to the visitors in this Islam area. I think that many attractions in developing countries they try to promote their area based on the interesting values or interesting culture in that specific area. So I think even by having the Islam area, by making it as the institutionalized slum area, I think that would be very beneficial for this area at the very first place. We can compare if we don't try to legalize the slum area, because that would be a very dangerous for this place, because they will try to open these attractions, but without really legal protections, without really a protection for the society in general. So I think the risk of losing the culture is even more if we are not trying to make it as legal as a slum area. And they also talk about disturbing the life of the people, because people are not ready and things like that. I think that the moment this area is becoming the slum area, then there will be so many aids and so many developments in this area as well. There will be many training as well for the local people. I think they, as soon as it becomes legal, I think there will be many support for the government, and even maybe from the investors as well from other countries. So I think that would be also beneficial for the local people, so that they can train themselves to be better and to have a lot of skills in the future. So here I would like to talk about why that slum area is actually ethical, as the first speaker told you, that this slum area, although this is actually maybe not a useful way of gaining the money for the developing countries, but I think this is the only way that the developing countries could gain the money. We don't think that there is any other way that these developing countries could gain the money, because even they don't have a stabilized economy at the very first place. So I think by having this slum area, by attracting more visitors, I think this would be a very beneficial for these developing countries. And also these developing countries, I think the most interesting thing with these developing countries for other countries is that this slum area, because many people from other countries, they are trying to see what happens in the developing countries. They try to see what happens there, and maybe they are trying to help these developing countries as well. So I think at the end of the day, this also creates good relationships between the developing countries and the developed countries at the very first place. I think in the future there will be more cooperations between the developed countries and the developing countries. So I think based on those reasons, I think that a slum area will not only beneficial for the local people, but also it tries to start to build the relationships between the developed countries and the developing countries. Thank you.
I thank the speaker very much for that fine speech and call upon the Deputy Leader of the Opposition to continue the case for that side. Hear, hear.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are 2 points that I would like to deliver in this page. The first point is about economy, and the second is about nature in impoverished area. But before that, there are points of rebuttal to opening government. They say that there is a chance for the society to get a job if the government have an access to the tourism in these areas. But we believe that a chance for the job to the society need a lot of facilitation and how the society get facilitation if they are already poor in the area? Because we know that slum tourism is a type of tourism that involves visiting impoverished areas. And next, I'm going to tell you about the point of my argument. The first, about the point of my argument in economy. We believe that government should not give an access for any tourism to visit that area, because impoverished areas should be threatened by the government to increase the economy, the facilities, and others. So we believe that this place still not already to be an object of tourism, because we know that tourism will take all of the part of that area because the area is already poor. In the second point of this argument, I would like to talk about the natural in that area. We believe that in that area must be have a lot of natural, rich of natural, and we believe that the tourism would be take a lot of utilizing for the natural in these areas. And the second, we believe that the benefit of the tourism are not going to the society, and we believe that it would not increase the social life in that area. And then we believe too that property is not something to show to others, especially in impoverished area. So we think that the government should not give an access for any tourism in this area, because we believe that this place is not already to be an object for tourism, but should be threatened by the government to increase that area. I think that's all.
I thank the speaker very much for that fine speech, and everyone in the top half for a very good debate so far. I now call upon the member of government to extend the case for proposition. Hear, hear.
One point of contention before we move on to my extension. First, is there a trade-off? And here's what we tell them: no. We don't think culture, the preservation of culture and nature, is necessarily mutually exclusive from economic development. We believe that culture can also be preserved and shared, especially with tourism that comes to visit the slums, right? We will also believe that it's especially when you're confronted with defining what your culture is, when confronted with people who come from other cultures, that your personal culture gets specifically defined and consolidated into what you consider as truly your culture. Second of all, on the idea of nature. And we don't think that it's a necessary trade-off between conserving nature and indeed developing a certain area. Right? We believe that there are ways for you to conserve parts of nature and conserve the biodiversity, whereas carving out spaces to develop such slums into perhaps more livable spaces. And even if we were to argue that there is a certain trade-off, we argue that this is a good thing, right? Because we alleviate the entire slum out of poverty. We think that reclaiming the idea of dignity and economic agency for these people is something to be desired in and of itself. Furthermore, we argue that if these slums were to be left on their own and undeveloped, for example, because we want to preserve culture or nature, we think that that's also bad because people can be imprisoned by their own narrow definitions of culture and views. We think cultural integration and exchange is something to be desired as it brings people together and it helps people enter into a cultural dialogue, right? And we think that that's good because of globalization and stuff like that. So that's my first point of contention, right? I'm going to extend to you two main arguments. I'm going to talk about how slum tourism should be encouraged by the government because it encourages long-term economic development. And second of all, I'm going to talk to you about why this reclaims the idea of poverty and narrative poverty from the media. So on my first extension, here's why I further my opening arguments point and supplement crucial analysis on why it helps long-term development. First of all, we think that on a policy basis, it's very easy to redistribute the profits from this slum tourism, from this entire industry, right? Because all you need to do is, for example, institute a policy in which you tax agencies that operate in slums a higher amount and redirect that tax into a fund that goes back to redeveloping the slum, right? We think that is easily done. We think that the trade-off that they assume can be easily resolved by through simple policies like this, right? And this is good because it generates a fund in and of itself, right? The idea of developing the slum is funded directly by people who tour the slum. We think this is a good thing because it alleviates government resources and frees it up to for other areas that they may need to spend on. Second of all, we tell you that this increases the international pressure on governments themselves to develop their slums. Because you can no longer build high walls like in Rio to hide the slums from people during the Olympics, because people are now actively looking and checking in on the progress of these slums, whether they're developed or whether they're still undeveloped, right? We think the international pressure exerted through perceptions when tourists come in and view the slums is a good thing because it pressures governments to alleviate these entire slums, and it increases the idea of poverty onto the top of the priority list. On the third tier, we believe that this creates job opportunities, and this is good. Why? Because with the absence of tourism, these people don't really have much jobs to go to, right? The very fact that they live in poverty, the very fact that they don't have an education, which means that they're illiterate and a disadvantage in the job market. What we do is when we create an industry where they can redirect their time and resources into creating, say, souvenirs for tourists and gain an income for themselves, is that we empower these people economically on a micro level. This is good. Here's where I come to my fourth point, because it counters the idea of crime syndicates operating in these areas, right? We believe that a lot of people are recruited into crime syndicates or trafficked because they are jobless, right? Crime syndicates target specifically jobless youth with no agency. And here's where I move on quickly to my second point, right, on how we reclaim the narrative from the media. Because we believe that for too long, the idea of poverty has been painted in extreme, either romanticized terms or negative stereotypes. We think that inviting people to understand what poverty is, to look and interact with people who are in poverty, can dissect the idea of poverty from certain negative stereotypes, like, oh, these people are all bad, or these people have nothing to eat and are deprived of agency. We think that reclaiming the idea of what poverty is and humanizing poverty is a good end in of itself. So even if there's no economic development, right, by the very idea that we claim a semblance of dignity for these people, we already won the debate. For all these reasons, I'm very proud to propose.
Thank you very much for that fine speech, and call upon the member of opposition to extend the case for that side. Here.
Okay, this
time, I will strengthen the previous opinion that this House believes that government of developing country should not encourage the slum tourism. In this time, I will talk about several points. The first point is I will give you the explanation or the reason why does the slum tourism shouldn't be enhanced. And after that, I will give you the exact example or proof what happened to Indonesia, one of the city or underdeveloped city in Indonesia. The third, after the rebuttal, some of the reason from the opening, if the time still enough, I will tell you the example of city of Indonesia who already succeed to change their city from the slum tourism to innovation city. Okay, I will start with the first reason. Why does slum tourism shouldn't be enhanced? The first, if we are talking about several support here, the slum tourism isn't support the ecology side, the beautiness side, and especially the healthiness. How can a slum area, a slum city, have a high standard or healthy? That's what we have to think about it. And the second, I will give you the example. One of the city in Indonesia, I will tell the name is Banten. It's only several kilometers from the capital city of Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen. What is so difficult is the main point is about transportation. How can we encourage the tourism if we don't have enough transportation to go to the exact place? And the second one, to rebuttal what do the previous opening government say? That it's not only about the survival, but guys, ladies and gentlemen, we live not only to survive, but we live to how to improve our life quality in terms of economic and health. Not only to survive, but to improve our life. That's what are really important here. And they also said that there are a lot of benefits that can be achieved for the society about the slum tourism. Okay, do you think it's applicable? Is there any proof or example that it's beneficial for the society? They also said it's to increase the economic development. If we want to compare between the city who get the fine tourism, I don't say they have the most tourism spot in the world, but they have fine tourism to the country who get the slum tourism. Do you have the exact number of achievement or maybe you can say the tax achieved from the country compared to another country who get the fine tourism? And then we have to think about this one, attraction. If we go to the country, put ourselves as a tourist, we go to a country, we want to see the attraction. We want to see a very beautiful spot. We want to see the people who support the tourism and can increase the tourism level to a next level. And here, another example why the tourism shouldn't be enhanced is when your government decides to improve the slum tourism, it means your government doesn't have enough innovation to build or to create innovative tourism spot. What happened? We are going to be stagnant, ladies and gentlemen. There is no improvement country if there is only stagnant government. What we have to do, we have to break the limit. We have to improve our quality. We have to improve the ecological environment in one city and the whole city in the country that make us to be a better level of economic and health. So that's why I said our house believes that the government, even in development country, shouldn't encourage the slum tourism. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that fine speech. I call upon the government whip to close the case for proposition. Hear, hear.
2 points from my speech. Firstly, what's better for the people in the slums? Secondly, is slum tourism principally justified? Rebuttal to be integrated. On the first point, what's better for the people in slums? We all agree that the conditions of people living in slums are really bad. That's exactly because they lack financial means to access basic necessities. These things many times require financial means like money or cash in order for you to actualize them. Here's the thing, we would argue the lack of these financial resources many times stems from the fact that the type of employment is lacking in those areas and industry. This necessarily means that these are the people who can't go out and compete with other people in a competitive, globalizing labor market, and therefore they are locked in that particular slum. It is exactly because they lack education, more likely than not. It is because of transportation costs to go into the city and then come back every day, so that because you can't really afford the housing in the city area. These are the barriers which prevent these people from leaving the slums and joining the workforce elsewhere. This necessarily means they don't have the financial means to actualize basic necessities. We would argue slum tourism is a solution to this particular problem. Why exactly? Because as like what my partner told you, it creates an industry within that slum. It's about a local in the slum can become a tourist operator and therefore bring tourists around. It's also about them creating souvenirs, for example, or cultural things which they can sell to the tourists who visit those places. But the point I'm trying to make here is that you bring jobs to these areas that otherwise would not have existed. And that's the first benefit that we accrue to them. Secondly, we would also tell you that we counter crimes much better in these areas, which many times are infested in these slums area. We need to first ask the question, why are there crimes? And we would argue many times people are criminals or people who commit crimes are many times victims of desperate circumstances. Because this is their calculus. Do I steal? Do I hurt another person? Or do I starve another day? We would argue to the extent that we can give them more jobs, give them more money so that they don't have to starve, or necessarily so that they can survive another day, you decreases the incentive for people in those areas to want to engage in criminal activities. And that's the first benefit there, the new recreation of the incentive structure of the people within the area. But secondly, we would also argue we create also a governmental impetus to deploy more law enforcement in those areas. Why necessarily? Because here's the thing, if you have a lot of foreigner tourists in those areas, it is more likely that you want to ensure the safety of the people who come into your country. It is going to be quite a very bad publicity for your country if, for example, our tourists go there and many of them get robbed or many of them get hurt by people in those areas. But we would also argue that it also means given that many slums are facing the hygiene problem or health problems, we would also argue this also increases an incentive for example, governmental hospitals or the government to deploy nurses or doctors to be there, so that it is proper or it is safe for tourists to be there and visit those areas to begin with. And we would therefore argue that these are the benefits that again will be accrued to the slum community. But more importantly, closing opposition tries to tell us that well, we need preservation of natural beauty. Number one, we can have governmental regulation. That's not an impediment to this policy. Secondly, we would also argue there's an economic interest by tourist agencies to preserve natural beauty. Because this is the thing, if there exists natural beauty to begin with, then yes, that's the attractive feature that tourists would want to visit. But more importantly, thirdly, note that the majority of slums in the world today don't exist in natural beauty. If you look at Klong Tse slum in Bangkok, for example, it is surrounded by trash and rubbish, for example. And this is the condition faced by many slums. They don't exist in natural beauty. So to the extent that we can change the physical condition of the slum, that's better. So that's why we think the conditions of the people in slums is much better under our side. Second point, is slum tourism justified? We would also argue that poverty isn't about material deprivation, but also deprivation of agency. Right now, your understanding of slum is limited to what you see on media, which romanticize things like poverty. Oh, it's okay to be poor as long as we have love. These are the things that you see on the media. Sure, we agree to some extent there are some portrayals by NGOs on the media who go into slums and they interview these people. But this is insufficient for two reasons. Firstly, the airtime is very expensive because it's like X dollar per X seconds. This necessarily means the type of airtime or the type of things that will be portrayed on television will be very, very limited. But secondly, the things you see on the media on Facebook are merely snapshots of poverty, not exactly what poverty means per se. Meaning, you only see like a picture of like a child begging in that photo, but you don't necessarily see the community in which people live, how they struggle there, how the fact that they are not lazy people, but hardworking individuals who work really hard in a world where the cards are stacked against them. So we give them the power to redefine what it means to be poor, because this narrative comes necessarily from the people who are poor. And because of these reasons, we are very proud to propose.
Thanks very much for that fine speech, and call upon the opposition whip to close the debate. Hear, hear.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Listening to the opening government, I remember a book that I read about one city in India. The book is about the title is about Happy City. It's one of the poorest city in the world. What do the government team say just now? It's all 90% describe as how the government let the poor people to be still stagnant without any improvement. So here I stand up in front of you all, still believe in, as my partner also said, that we are not agree that government of developing country just encourage the slum tourism. I'm going to strengthen my partner point of view is about there are a lot of alternatives that we can improve a part of the slum tourism. So every country have a lot of culture. Like my partner said, if we don't take ourselves to the slum tourism, there are a lot of like ecology tourism, history tourism, culture tourism that we can improve. And the second of all, I'm going to give you the exact example of the city in Indonesia who already succeed, change their slum tourism into the innovative tourism city. What do they do? Actually, they were the fifth poorest city in Indonesia. I will say the city is Bantai. I think several of us knows. Bantai used to be the slums tourism city. What happened to them? They are still in the fifth poorest city in Indonesia. And with the collaboration and the synergy with another country, if I can say here, with Japan, there are a lot of innovation that they do there to change them into the slum tourism destination into innovative city tourism destination. That's a very excellent and very strong proof that slum tourism can be changed into innovative city. And the opening government also said that this slum tourism created industry, creating new jobs. Yes, for some point, yes. But this is a little bit ambiguous. Why? Because in spite of just creating the job, why don't you exactly improve your city or your country? So don't be like quiz how to be a millionaire, 50 slum and 50 innovative. Just be innovative city. That will give you more tax, more tourists come to your city or your country. I'm sure you all agree that we don't need to be a stagnant. We want to improve ourselves, and we want to improve also our country. Remember, with our sustainable development goals, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a country that there are 10 countries and another country outside ASEAN who will provide help for us. We are not alone here. So, like you know about, there are 17 goals of these SDGs, and guys, with the synergy and with the collaboration with another country, I do believe that we don't have to improve the slum tourism, but we need to improve our innovation, become innovative city tourism. And then, I will also rebuttal for the, I'm sorry, it's not a battle. I also want to strengthen what my friend said before, that the tourism is not only about slum. There are a lot of point of view that we can encourage here. So we are sure that if we become more creative to see this point of view, to see this problem, actually there will be another point of view shown us we can do better than the slum tourism improvement. And the last, talking about financial. I don't need to ask you about how to calculate in exact number of or percentage tax achieved from the slum and innovation tourism, but just see it as in our as general. Just see it that the slum tourism will achieve less higher than innovative tourism. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are not agreed if you say that government of developing city have to increase the slum tourism. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for that fine speech. Everyone for a fine debate. You can go out, shake hands, be friends for about 15 minutes while we judge, and then come back in.
Thank you very much.
Just a couple minutes. We'll go your notes.
I like your voice, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That was one.
I don't need just numbers. I think it comes first, second, fifth. What else? fine. That's just a different Palestine. We're moved to what